Hey friends, welcome back to another review. I know I haven't posted one in a while, but that's fine. Today I'm going to talk about The Assassin's Apprentice by Rob and Hobb. The story follows Fitz, who is a bastard of the heir, Prince Heir. I can't remember exactly how it's described, but like the guy who will become king, the prince. He is the bastard of him. He ends up finding himself in this world of like court intrigue, and also he's being trained to be an assassin, hence the Assassin's Apprentice thing. And it's just kind of like him feeling his way through his like newfound sort of life, because he basically he doesn't remember anything from his childhood. It's sort of, he gets into this new world when he's 6. He doesn't remember anything before he's 6, because like really, who does? And so it's sort of like he has no real home to go back to, so he's just kind of like building his own home and dealing with it like as a child, because most of the story is told like from a very young point of view. He finds himself alone and an outcast for most of his childhood, but that's kind of helped with this ability he has called the Wit, which allows him to sort of like feel out thoughts and feelings of animals. It's really cool. It doesn't really get explained all that well, at least not in this book. I know it's the first part of a trilogy, and then there's like a million trilogies that she's written about this, but like it's not explained very well, but I'm okay with that, because like it's sort of like a lost sort of ability. So I'm gonna break this review down now that the synopsis is out of the way, kind of in like pros and cons, and then sort of like maybe closing thoughts sort of thing. I don't know, we'll just kind of go with it. But first, I want to talk about the characters, not just Fitz himself, because like Fitz is pretty cool. He's a little bit, I don't want to say generic, but he's like borderline generic hero in a fantasy, and it's just like, if you've read any of them, you've kind of read Fitz. He's not anything super special. The side characters are kind of interesting though, even though, I mean, I guess they're kind of generic too, but this came out a while back, so it's like, it was a little fresher back then. But I really enjoyed the character of the Fool. He's kind of like this enigmatic court jester that sort of like pops in and out. He says some like really mysterious things to the Fitz, and they're usually like prophetic. They're like telling him like he's going to be poisoned, or like this and that, like he's going to be killed here, or the things. And his character's not really fleshed out all that well. Like there's hints of what's to come with the Fool, and I really want to like know more of his story, because like he was really cool to me. Another character I really like was Burrick. I think it's pronounced Burrick. He's kind of like this stoic, angry father figure for Fitz. I really liked how you kind of got to see how a character deals with caring about someone, but also dealing with their own prejudices based on something. Like, Burrick hates the Wit, which is the thing that Fitz uses to speak to animals. Like, he thinks it's an abomination, but he still cares about Fitz. But, like, between caring about Fitz and thinking that the Wit is an abomination, the two don't really, like, reconcile. So you see him, like, fighting between whether he really cares about Fitz or whether he's just gonna succumb to his prejudice. And, like, it's really interesting to see, like, even though he really cares about Fitz, he's just kind of an asshole to him, because, like, that's just what he believes. I like that this book had 2 different kinds of magic systems. Sort of, I call them systems, but they're not really, like, that fleshed out. There's the skill and the wit. The wit is what Fitz has, which lets him talk to animals and stuff like that. And, like, as he's, like, the only one that's got it, it's sort of, like, a forgotten ability, something that's kind of like died out over the years. And then there's also the skill, which is kind of like, it's like telepathy, I guess would be the easiest way of saying it. It's basically just like a really easy way for them to exchange messages with people. There's also like some emotional connections, like teleempathy and stuff like that. I don't really know, it's not, again, it's one of those things where people haven't really like studied it much in the world itself, so people don't really understand it anymore, and I kind of liked that it's all just sort of like, how does it work? I don't know, it just sort of does. Hopefully, like, we get a little bit more exploration into that, and as people start studying it more, like, in the series, like, if people get better at it and learn new tricks and stuff like that, I think that'd be really cool. Camera died about, like, partway into my little rant there, but I think I got it all out. And another thing that was really cool about this story was the court intrigue that sort of pops up about halfway into it. Fitz is being trained to be an assassin, and as an assassin, he just kind of gets thrown into, like, all these, like, murdery plot things that can happen. I really liked the backstabbing and the plotting and all this like subterfuge that was going on, and it's just like someone's intentions, or no, someone's plans were revealed before their intentions were, and I was just kind of like sitting there being like, but why? But why? Because I didn't understand. But then something would be explained to be like, oh, I get it now, and that's cool. I love that crap. Give me more of that. And in this book, even though it is like the first book of a trilogy, there's a lot of threads that are open to like continue on in the next couple books, but there was also enough wrapped up in this one that I felt like, hey, this was a solid book. I don't feel like it was something leading towards something else. It was like, it was a good, solid, contained story. And I really like that in trilogies when I get like 3 stories, but then like it's all one big story, but like give me each one a story, because I need that. And I got that, and it was great. For my cons for this book, I really only had one con that I could think of when I sat down to like write out what I felt about this one, and that was the fact that this is once again an assassin book where the assassin doesn't kill anyone, and that drives me absolutely crazy, and I know I can't be the only one that feels that way. Like, yes, Fitz does end up killing a couple of people, but the people that he kills are always in like self-defense. It's like, it's a defensive kill. He doesn't get to do like cool assassin-y type kills where he like, you know, sneaks up and stabs someone, or like he poisons someone to death. No, they're all just like very reflexive defensive kills, and I do not like that. I don't like how my assassins don't assassinate people. I know it's tough to write really well really well written, morally gray or like morally ambiguous characters, but I need that in my assassin books, and I'm just not getting it lately, and that's not a gripe with this book in particular. It does apply to this book in particular, but it's a gripe that I have about most assassin books that I've read, and it just makes me mad. And that makes me mad about this book. But that's the only thing that I just didn't enjoy that much about this book, is the fact that the assassin just doesn't assassinate. But overall, despite the fact that he's an assassin who doesn't assassinate anyone, I enjoyed this book. It was really interesting. I read it, I think I finished this in like 3 or 4 days. Like I flew through this one. I'm really excited to get to book 2 when I get a chance. I got a lot of other stuff I want to read before that, but and I lost my train of thought. I just hope that the future books have like more actual assassinations in them. I give this one 4 to 5 stars, and yeah. How do I end these videos? I gotta stop not filming things for weeks. Or months, let's be real, it's been months. I'm just gonna say goodbye. There's stuff below if I remember to do it. Bye!